to opt out of being required to fund transportation enhancements. This does not eliminate the enhancements. What it simply does is give the state of Colorado or the state of Oklahoma the opportunity to say now, with roads in such disrepair and 138,000 bridges in disrepair, that we have the ability, if we so choose, to take all of the money instead of 90% of the money and apply it to solve the problems that we have. So it will not force California to not do enhancements. It will not force any state to not do them. It will give them the privilege of electing whether or not they want to do those enhancements when, in fact, we have such a critical need in terms of roads, highways, and bridges. So the goal of this, and it's important to note where the money comes from. The money is taxes that are collected by individuals in Colorado and Oklahoma and every other state that are then sent up here, then sent back. And in my state, I don't know about Colorado, we've never gotten more than 93% of what we've sent here. We used to average about 74%. But now the money that does come back, 10% has to be spent on enhancements, whether that's sound barriers or walking paths or bicycle paths or numerous other enhancements as under the Safety Lieu bill. So what this amendment does, it doesn't force anybody to not, but it gives them the option to really fix the problems in their state. I would note that the National Transportation Safety Board notified us that last year 13,000 people died on our highways, not because they made a driving error, not because someone else made a driving error, not because they had a problem with their automobile or their truck. They had the accident because the roads were substandard. 13,000 people lost their lives. So the question of priority, of whether or not my Department of Transportation in Oklahoma ought to have the ability to fix roads and bridges instead of build sound barriers, ought to be left to us. And so this is for this year only. It doesn't eliminate, it doesn't change the law. It just says we're going to give you the option this year with this money. If your state has needs, and Oklahoma has significant needs, I know Colorado does because I'm there a lot, that we don't necessarily spend it on sound barriers, that we can actually spend it on something that's going to save somebody's life. So it doesn't force anybody to not do enhancements, but gives them the right to choose the priority of saving lives over enhancements, if they so desire to. So the senator from California made a statement yesterday about what this would do. There's no force in this other than to allow. It allows the states the freedom to do what is best for their individual state citizens, rather than saying 10% of the money that you get back has to be spent on things that aren't going to save lives, aren't going to enhance safety, but in fact are going to enhance aesthetics. So I think it's a common sense amendment. There's no force that if California wants to continue to spend 10% of their money on enhancements, they can. There will be nothing that will keep them from doing that. It will be what the state decides to do rather than what we decide to do. And since it is money taken from those states, it would seem that we would want to give the states the option to make the best priority choice for those dollars for their individual citizens. I'm very appreciative of Senator Murray's agreement to take two of our amendments that are based on transparency to the American public. One requires the HUD to report to Congress on homes that are owned and the cost to taxpayers so that the American people see what the Department of Housing and Urban Development is doing. The other is an amendment to make available to the public all the reports, and there's numerous reports required in this bill of the Transportation Department, make those available to the public as well. So it's in the light of transparency, and I'm very thankful for Senator Murray's agreement on those two amendments. I have two other amendments that I'll talk about when Senator Murray gets to the floor. Otherwise, I would note the absence of a quorum.
The clerk will call the roll.
Senator Kaka.